Ian Rapoport had it, the NFL Network's Ian Rapoport, that Brock Purdy is scheduled to undergo surgery. The surgery is going to be conducted on February 22nd. And if everything goes according to plan, it sounds like the timeline is exactly that Kyle Shanahan described at the Lynch Shanahan presser, that it's going to be roughly a 6-month turnaround. And, from the date of the surgery to week 1 is exactly 6 months and 19 days for Purdy. So probably expect to see him sometime this summer, probably not at the beginning of camp, but maybe in the midst of camp. Will we see him play in the preseason? That part we don't know, but it sounds like best case scenario is he'll be ready by the end of the preseason, which means he'll be ready to roll week 1. Good news for the Niners.
Yeah, it seems a little optimistic. I'm a little confused with Rapoport. He says he's going to be ready for training camp. The beginning of training camp, the end of training camp, some of training camp. I mean, if it's 6 months from the date of the surgery, that means August 22nd, which is more like mid-preseason. So I'd like to know about that. And also, this is all the most optimistic projection. You don't really know how a recovery is going to happen. It could be longer. So this could be great news for the 49ers. Best case scenario, Brock Purdy starts week 1, doesn't miss a beat. He's the same guy as last year. They roll. But you got to be prepared for another outcome. It's not a given that the best outcome will come. So I just want to know, it's great that there's a possibility that something that the best case scenario could happen, but what are the contingency plans the Niners have? I'd like to know.
It's funny. I look at this as the way I was looking at it yesterday, or coming before this news, I was looking at their quarterback room of Brock and Trey and a veteran, but not just an Easton Stick veteran, a real veteran, like an Andy Dalton or a Taylor Heineke, or somebody who actually has started NFL games. And that
I'll take Heineke.
Yeah, I would take Heineke. Yeah. I mean, I would take any of these guys really as a third quarterback, but my thinking was, this guy, that third guy, may have to start, and he may have to start as many as 2, 3, 4 games at the beginning of the year. You may have to use this third guy to actually start regular season games if Trey, for whatever reason, is not either healthy or right, or if Brock is not healthy or right. You may have to lean on this third guy. I kind of think with this news, it makes it's less vital that they get a Dalton or a Taylor Heineke or a veteran. And now I think the draft is open to them. I think that now, you've got obviously Kyle, your offensive coaching staff, you got Greasy, but now with a reasonable expectation that Purdy's not going to miss the whole year, and the reasonable expectation that Trey's also going to be healthy. Now I think if they really did want to go into the draft for Jake Haener or Tanner McKee or Dorian Thompson-Robinson, or I really love Malik Cunningham right now out of Louisville. If they wanted to go do that route, I think that's viable now with this news.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I mean, again, I wouldn't, if I were the Niners, this is great news, and it gives you hope and optimism, but I wouldn't make too many plans based on, well, Brock's going to be there week 1. He'll be fine. If that happens, great. Then there's nothing to talk about. But if it doesn't happen, you got to be prepared for that as well. And Trey's a good start. That's one quarterback. That's it. So if they could sign Taylor Heineke and draft Dorian Thompson-Robinson, great. Now you got 3. Because again, is Purdy going to be able to take reps at all in these long practice? I mean, we'll see. If he's there for week 1, great. But you got to get through training camp too. So bodies. It's like the running back position. Until Kyle Shanahan proves that he can keep these guys healthy, bodies.
Give me a trait of the third quarterback that's important to you. What do you want to? Because for me, I'm at a point now where I think defenses are so fast. When you're now being rushed by when now one of the greatest edge rushers in the sport is not Richard Dent at 275, it's Hassan Reddick, and he's flying off the edge and he's not even reading play action. I need mobility. I need whoever that third quarterback is, or whoever my quarterback is on any level. I'm kind of done with the statue immobile guy. I think that's a yesteryear kind of a thing with the NFL. I think mobility is absolutely vital.
Here are my traits. I got 3. I feel like when you're drafting one of these quarterbacks, it's late in the draft. You're not going to get a guy who's 6'4", with big arm. You gotta sacrifice size and arm strength. But if you could get mobility, accuracy, and experience, and you put him on a good team, I mean, that seems to be the trifecta that Brock Purdy had. He's mobile, he's accurate, and he had 1,400 throws. So that's why I like Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Very, very mobile.
Yeah.
I mean, he put up good completion percentage numbers, and he started for 4 years, and he's young. It'd be nice if he's not 25 years old. Because sometimes there's these quarterbacks that start playing well when they're like 23, 24. It's like, yeah, you're older than everyone. You probably should be putting up good numbers. I'd like to see someone who put up numbers at 19, 20, and then was consistent. Guys like that. I feel like you can find guys like that.
No doubt. I think in this draft, they got 10 picks, and they don't have a ton of needs. And you just mentioned Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but I think Jake Haener from Fresno State's not as mobile, but he's accurate and kind of a smaller guy, probably going to be there day 3. I like Malik Cunningham out of Louisville, who kind of looks like Lamar as far as he's a runner, but he's only 6 feet, about 188 pounds.
Who cares?
There's a guy named Lindsey Scott who plays for Incarnate Word, who had like 71 touchdowns this year. He's 5'11". So, I mean,
fine.
I'd be interested in
Taylor Heineke isn't that big, but he's mobile, accurate, and has experience. I mean, he's a good player.
Yeah.
He's a good player. Yeah.
That would be a good name. That would be an absolute good name. ESPN they do this every year. They do a redraft after the season of the NFL draft from the year before. They, in their redraft, had Brock Purdy going 4th overall to the Jets.
How could you not? Does he not look like the best quarterback from this last? I mean, he looks better than Kenny Pickett. He's younger than Kenny Pickett.
You know what a fan I am of him, but 4th pick in the draft? I mean,
hey, if he's QB1 in this draft, then yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean,
it's got to be one of the biggest jumps in the history of the redraft.
Absolutely, man. It's one of the greatest gifts that's ever been given to a franchise, and I hope the Niners didn't mess it up. But today, the news is good, so let's be positive today.